Good morning. Well, the Aussie market will be playing catch-up on Tuesday after being closed on Monday for the long weekend, and it will certainly be a jam-packed week for markets, not only globally, but also in Australia as well. But under the circumstances of a tense G7 meeting in Quebec, Canada at the weekend, and also a historic summit between President Trump and Kim Jong-un today, markets have largely held up quite well. The US markets on Friday were up by around 1/3%, and they managed to edge a little higher in overnight trade as well. They did fade a little in late trade in the last 10 to 15 minutes, but we still had the Dow Jones managing to lift by about 5 points. Now, that was a gain of 0.02%. They were up as much as a third in the overnight session. We had the S&P 500 doing a bit better, up about 1/10, and the Nasdaq was up even better than that by around 1/5%. Now, what we saw in the Dow Jones, at least, was a 50-50 split between winners and losers, but there were a handful of stocks that managed to keep the markets in positive territory. None more so than health insurer United Health, the largest health insurer in the US, was up 1.25%. We also had gains from Boeing, Home Depot, and energy group Chevron on a higher oil price, but that gain from United Health added about 21 points to the Dow Jones. We also had some takeover talk. We had telco AT&T up 1%. This is ahead of a decision tomorrow over its $85 billion takeover of Time Warner. Time Warner shares also up, and other telcos like Sprint and T-Mobile also rose in overnight trade on the takeover activity there. Financial group Genworth was up 26%. This is after receiving approval to be taken over by a group in China for about $2.7 billion. And as far as the weights on the market go, some consumer-related stocks like McDonald's, 3M, Johnson & Johnson certainly didn't help. Commodity prices were up quite modestly, though. We had the price of oil up by around 0.5%. Iron ore was up 60 cents. Gold was up in the order of 50 cents. But we had BHP and Rio and London trade finishing mixed. Now, looking ahead, the Aussie market today is set for a better start. Futures pointing to a gain of about 27 points. That would be a gain of about 0.4%. Keep in mind, as I said, we are playing catch-up here. We did actually snap a 3-week losing streak just last week, and it's going to be a very, very busy day. We've got not only things like business confidence data out today, housing finance, weekly petrol prices as well, and potentially a weekly update on consumer confidence. Most of the focus will be on that meeting between Kim Jong-un and President Trump. Now, that's expected to kick off at 9 a.m. Singapore time. That's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That certainly is going to overshadow probably everything else, at least in the early part of the day. Now, the market has been seeing the potential for denuclearization, a peace treaty between the two Koreas as well, but certainly maybe we shouldn't expect too much considering it's their first meeting, and also Kim Jong-un has set an earlier than expected departure time from Singapore as well. The Aussie dollar a little weaker ahead of this at 76.1 US.